Hello, this is Roger Bisbee from the Skill Builder channel, and we got a question in for the Skill Builder help desk from Dael. And Dael has taken on a bit of a project here. He's got an old house. So this is the front of Dael's house, and you can see that somebody had concreted over the front there, not put any hardcore in, so it looks like it might be a bit of, I don't know, it's quite pretty, that bit of lip around there, isn't it? But anyway, they sneaked it in under the air bricks, which is a good thing, so they didn't cover those up, cause all kinds of problems under the floor. But he's got a lot of damp in there, and you can see what they've done. They've rendered round this bay window here, which is a very common thing to do to try and stop damp. People put a hard sand and cement render around there thinking it'll stop the damp, but it didn't. What he did then is he hacked it all off, so you can see all the render's gone, or most of it's gone, but it's left those bricks in a bit of a mess. So cosmetically speaking, he's got a bit of work to do. They're not salvageable as far as I'm concerned. If you started grinding that render off or whatever you do, you're not going to have nice bricks by the end of it. So then he's got a bit of a dilemma. He's done the right thing anyway. He's exposed all this footing here. Now this is what they used to do, these kind of spreader courses where they would just go out. Instead of having a concrete foundation, they just used to have this spreader course, so it would go out one by one. So basically this would be brick on earth or brick on clay if it's in London. And it was never a great idea, but it's just what they could do, wasn't it? So bay windows in general, you do find cracking, you do find sinking, because this little bit here is not sufficient really. So my idea with these things is to dig down, put a bit of decent concrete in underneath, and go from there. But when you look at all these bricks, he's raked all these bricks out, got rid of all the sand and lime, so he's got himself a good depth there to repoint. But some of them are shot, aren't they? Some of the bricks are horrible. These coins, by the way, these bricks on the corner, I did a job once, I got a quote for £9 each for those bricks. So if you ever have any of those, don't throw them away. The other way of doing it, people often do now, is to cut and shunt. So in other words, they take 2 bricks, cut them with a diamond blade, stick them together with epoxy resin. But anyway, you can see that he's going to need some new bricks there. He's got a bit of a crack there. That very often happens on those window sills. You can't do much about that. So this was the old rainwater pipe coming straight off the roof down into the ground. So the question is, where does that end up? Because if that's taking all the rain off the roof, it's hardly surprising that that area is damp. So here's the answer. He's dug it down and he's found that it's completely blocked up and it was just running into the soil. When you dig a soakaway to take the rainwater off a roof, it has to be 5 meters away, and if he had a soakaway 5 meters away from there, it would be in the middle of the road. So obviously you can't do much about that, except perhaps for just slinging it out over the pavement in front of the house. This wall, without being rude, an abomination. Those horrible blocks, I mean, it's got nothing to do with the house. He'd be better off just knocking that down, and he'd be better off running a rainwater pipe straight out across there onto the pavement, and similarly the other side, so that he's at least getting that rainwater away. Looks like the brick pier here where the gate was left, but at some point in the 70s somebody stuck up that wall. Now I try not to be too judgmental about taste, because tastes change and my tastes aren't absolute, so what do I know? But I would say that is not great. Architecturally it's done little to enhance the street. So get rid of the wall. He's already exposed all the brickwork, he's dug down there, so I would suggest digging down a little bit more. And if you're going to get rid of that wall at that point, do you know what, I really think that at this point there's so little to save of this wall here, this bay window, that I'd be inclined to prop the whole thing up on some acros, go from somewhere like that. You could run some courses of brick in the middle here without too much trouble. Maybe those ones are worth saving. Maybe they'll grind off and they won't be too bad. That would smarten it up no end. And it would also get a damp-proof course in there. You could put a nice physical damp-proof course in there rather than injecting one, which a physical one is always going to be 100%, whereas injection can be, sometimes a little bit hit and miss. It does some good to put the rods in, to put the dry rods in there, and if you've got no alternative, if it's too much of a big job to cut in a physical damp proof course, then I would recommend doing that. But in this case, I think it would be, for a job in bricky, it wouldn't be too bad a job to relay that section. You could do the middle, and then once the middle was firmed up a bit, you could do the edges, or you could just try and needle through and prop up the whole blooming thing. You know, you don't want to lose the top half of that bay, because we haven't seen it, but I'm assuming that improves as it goes up. Those brick piers improve, so there's no point taking all that down to relay it. But certainly that bottom bit, the bit that's been rendered over, I would be looking to do that, to relay it at least, because the last thing you want to do is put render back over there. It didn't work in the first place. I can't see that ever being dry unless you do something, you know, bite the bullet with it and do that. And I'm sorry I didn't get to this one earlier, Dael. You know, you may have actually done it by now. You may have actually had a go. He said he had several builders around. They all gave him different opinions, and nobody really seemed to have an answer for him. I think probably they shrugged their shoulders, didn't want to know about the job. You know, it's not everybody's cup of tea, this sort of thing, is it? But I'd love to know what you think. Steve and Alex, what do you think? You're regular viewers of Skill Builder, and we watch your channel, and I know you take on a lot of these awkward type of jobs up in your neck of the woods, so you might have some insight into it. That's what we want, a few brickies out there to give us their opinion.